Back in 2021, I bought my very first box truck and I started a box truck business. It was an 18-foot box truck and I quickly realized I literally can't find any loads for this 18-foot box truck. Luckily, I was able to sell it pretty quickly and I found a great deal for a 26-foot box truck back in 2021. Fast forward now, it's 2022. I'm actually in the process of maybe getting rid of my box truck. I've already acquired a semi-truck and I just wish in the beginning I would have gone with a semi-truck right off the bat because they're so much more profitable, so much easier to use, but I just didn't know. I thought it'd be more simple to start a box truck business. I didn't have any real good information, and that's the biggest reason why I've been making these videos. I want to educate everybody on my experience. It might not be the best way to do things, but it's a way that's been working for me, and I hope you all can learn from my experience. In this video, this is a real consultation I had with somebody, and I actually encouraged him to not start a box truck business, but start a CDL trucking business. And we talk about how difficult it is to get a loan. We talk about hiring drivers, how much do we pay drivers, how much money do we need to get started with a CDL trucking business. If you guys want to schedule a consultation with me, the link is in the description. I'd be happy to help you out. I hope you enjoy this video and all my other videos. I hope you guys can learn something, and I hope you are successfully operating and starting your trucking business. Cheers.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do.
Hey, this is Zach Pasquarello. Perfect. How's everything going? I'm happy I could encourage one other person to not make the same mistake I did. Trying to get a loan for a CDL truck whenever you don't have your CDL is nearly impossible. I wish I had a better answer for you, but the best answer I got was 50% down payment and 15% interest. 30% interest. That's crazy. Yeah, so basically, to give you actual numbers, I found a truck for like $80,000 and the guy told me I have to put $40,000 down, so I would have, a $40,000 loan, and it would be over the course of 3 years, and I would essentially pay back like $60,000 on a $40,000 loan. So I don't know exactly what the interest rate comes out to be, but I would end up paying, $80,000 or $100,000 for a truck that only cost $80,000 over the course of 3 years, and that's just ridiculous. Yeah. So I mean, unless you have, there's an alternative. You can try to piecemeal together $20,000 loans. I actually had a similar concern. I was worried about mixing my personal loans into my business loans, and I actually spoke directly with my CPA about this because I used my home equity line of credit to buy my truck, which I would not recommend anybody do that because that's really risky. Obviously, leveraging my personal house to start a business, incredibly risky, but I got an amazing deal and I just, took a leap of faith. But think about it this way. Think about if you have $20,000 in your bank account and you put that money into your business and then you use that money to buy inventory, supplies, equipment, whatever. I mean, if you think about it that way, it's just you're investing your personal money into your business, and then as long as you use the money to buy business things, inventory, equipment, supplies, vehicles, then it's a business expense. It's perfectly legitimate. So I asked my CPA, hey, I use my home equity line of credit. Can I still write off the interest that I'm paying for my HELOC, even though it's like a personal loan? But I used it to buy my truck. He said, yes, absolutely, because you used the funds to buy a business asset, so the interest on that is perfectly reasonable as a business expense. So you could take out personal loans, although, more risky, but, you got to do what you got to do to get started. Absolutely, yeah. I would recommend, you're probably going to have some type of loan origination document. If you don't, I highly recommend you do, just clearly outlining, the repayment terms, the interest rate, and then that's the only supporting documentation you would need in the event of an audit. I mean, you have all the documents there, the bill of sale from purchasing the truck with the funds, the bank transfers, the money trail is all there. But yeah, so I went to Wells Fargo and I got approved for a $20,000 business line of credit. So I know my business is probably a little bit older than yours, but my business, it's still less than a year old. It's almost a year old. So maybe go to the big banks to try to get a line of credit, or do what you're doing and go to I went to a small local credit union and I got approved for a $20,000 cash loan. It would be a personal loan, but still, $20,000 like you're talking about, 20 here, 30 there, 8%, 9%. It's a lot better than 30%. Is your credit score above 700? Then you'll have no problem. As long as your credit score is above 700, you should have no problem getting some type of personal loan. And then, hopefully you run this. So the other option, and this is kind of the situation I'm in now. So I highly recommend work with a local bank and, get connected with their loan officer, explain your situation, and then just be a really good customer to them and have like pretty strong bank statements with them. Ideally, $20,000 cash just sitting in your business checking account on a regular basis. And then over the course of the next 6 months, prove to your local bank, prove to your loan officer that your business will be successful, it's thriving, your checking account is slowly increasing, $20,000, $21,000, $22,000 at the end of the month, every statement. And what I've been able to do after building that relationship with the local bank, I was able to get approved for a loan for my second truck, like an incredible, like a real business loan, like 5% interest, 5 years, 20% down payment, and nothing changed other than the fact that I just built a relationship with my loan officer. Like that's what it's really all about. Right, yeah, once you have an income tax return for your business and, as long as, you haven't gone negative in your checking account and you have a decently strong profit and loss statement, balance sheet, all that stuff, I really think after 12 months, you'll be fine, as long as you're consistently building that relationship with that local bank. Yeah, so the first truck I bought, 2016 International Pro Star with 550,000 miles on it. And that was $65,000. And the next truck I get, I would prefer to buy a truck like for 90,000 or 100,000. And based on what I'm seeing, I could probably be able to find like a 2017 or a 2018, which is kind of the year range I'm looking at. And I'd like to find something with less than 400-ish thousand miles. So I want to get something, as new and as young as possible while staying under $100,000. And I think, 2018 with 400,000 miles on it, you can find something for $90,000, $95,000, $100,000. And I don't really care about the brand. I don't really care. International, Kenworth, Freightliner, Mack, Volvo, Peterbilt. I don't really care at this point. Because the market's so slim, we can't really be selective. Like, yeah, I would love to have all Freightliners. I'd love to have all Peterbilts, all the same manufacturer. That way I can mix and match parts. But realistically right now, we're all desperate to find a truck. So anything you find, I would buy if I were you. It's been great. It's, after, I would assume, so with the box truck I got back in 2021 and this truck that I got this year, both trucks had like pretty serious issues when I first got them. And I would just, if I were you, and I try to tell everybody this, like just assume the truck you're buying has been sitting still for 12 months. It hasn't been driven. So there's going to be something wrong with it. Like chances are someone drove it for 300,000 miles and then they put it in a parking lot for a whole year. And like you can only imagine what that does to a truck and what that does to the engine and the electrical wiring. Like I wish I would have been better prepared mentally and emotionally and obviously financially to like just be prepared to spend $5,000 to $10,000 in the first 3 months on repairs on your truck. Like no matter what, even if you get it inspected by the dealership, even if you get it inspected by your mechanic, just mentally be prepared to spend $5,000 to $10,000 in repairs in the first 3 months. Yeah, everyone spends their last dollar getting started and then they're starting the business with $0 after they've acquired insurance and the truck and everything, all their equipment. But yeah, it's definitely important to have a little bit of extra cash saved up. Whenever you do buy your truck, I highly recommend, so if you're anything like me, like I was so anxious and so excited to get started, I just wanted to like hurry up, just get the truck, get moving, get rolling. But if I can go back in time, I would have slowed down and I would have taken the truck to the mechanic, even if it means you have to wait an extra week. I understand, like whenever you're just getting started, an extra week seems like eternity, but I would have taken my truck to a trusted diesel mechanic and have them like thoroughly look over everything. And they might have actually caught the leaky oil pan. They might have caught the clutch that was about to go out. Because I would always 1000% prefer to get the truck repaired in my hometown with my trusted mechanic versus in Florida or Illinois or somewhere crazy over the road by some random diesel mechanic. And then you're loaded and then you miss out on 2 or 3 days of revenue. Your driver's unhappy. It's just always better to take your time, slow down, get the truck properly checked before you go out on the road. That way you avoid all the frustration. Yeah, and along the same lines, like you can only do so much analysis. Like the best way to learn is just to do it. You just got to get started. You're going to make mistakes. I promise you're going to make mistakes. You might even lose thousands of dollars. But there's so much to learn and so many ways to improve. But you're not gonna be able to learn and improve unless you get started. Yeah, absolutely. As soon as we hang up, I'll send you my staffing agency, their contact information. Deciding how much to pay a driver is like a really difficult question, especially for us because we haven't been in the industry. We don't really know a whole lot. That's a really cool added benefit of my staffing agency. Like they have 50 other companies going to them and giving them information on hiring a driver. So they're like they are so knowledgeable about the current industry and standard pay rates. So if I were you, I would just ask the staffing agency directly, like, hey, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. How much do you think I should, do you think I'd be able to get a driver at 55 cents a mile, 65 cents a mile? Like your staffing agency will be able to tell you probably exactly how much you're going to have to offer in order to get a reasonable candidate. But for me in Pennsylvania, I offer 58 cents per mile, and it's been like that for the entire year, back since January. It hasn't really gone up. I've been able to find 2 drivers already at 58 cents per mile, so hopefully you'll be able to do the same depending on where you are. Being in the Midwest is the hot spot for freight in the country, so you are lucky. I absolutely think you should dispatch yourself. I almost wish I would have done it in the beginning. Quite simply, I just don't have the time. Like it's not a difficult job. It doesn't require a college degree. It doesn't require special certifications. It really just requires time. Like you need to be a salesperson and you need to be able to devote 2 to 4 hours every single day to dispatch your truck. And really all you're going to have to do is you're going to have to call 50 brokers every single day. And you're going to have to negotiate with them. And you're going to have to understand, okay, I need $3 a mile. No more, no less. Well, you can get more, but definitely no less than $3 a mile. And so you're going to call 10 brokers and they're going to tell you, you're ridiculous. You're never going to get that. They're going to hang up on you. But, you're going to call 40 more brokers, and eventually in the first 3 hours of the day, you're going to find someone who's desperate and someone who's willing to pay you $3 a mile or $3.50, whatever the per mile rate is. So in order to be a dispatcher, you just need to be persistent. You need to be a good salesperson. You need to know how to negotiate, know how to talk to people. And most importantly, you need to be able to and willing to put in 2 to 4 hours every single day to dispatch your truck and manage your driver. But I highly I wish I would have, because dispatching your truck, that's like the meat and potatoes of your operations. Like being able to find a profitable load and being able to manage your driver in an efficient way. Like if you can do those 2 things, you'll have a successful business. Like mechanics, your truck's going to break down, whatever. The market's going to go up and down, whatever. Diesel's going to go up and down, whatever. You can't control that. But what you can control is like the management of your day-to-day operations. And if you can have your spouse or your friend or your family, like a very close coworker, do that for you and do a good job at it, you're going to be successful. And I pay my dispatcher 6%. So if your truck is making $10,000 a week, which is possible, then you're going to pay your dispatcher $600 every single week. So if whoever you have dispatching your truck quits their job, you can guarantee them, either you're going to pay them $600 a week or your business is going to save $600 a week. And then just think about it. Like you get a second truck, that's $1,200 a week. You get a third truck, that's $1,800 a week. Like it very quickly adds up as your business grows. Freight has been terrible in April. So I was in February and March, I was very comfortably averaging $3.20 a mile, like easily. And now it's like closer to $2.90 a mile, $3 a mile. But I really think the freight market is similar to the stock market. Like it's gonna go up and down. I'm not really concerned about it. Like I might lose money in 1 month, but then the next month I'll make $3.50 a mile and make a killing. So I don't think you can really judge this business or this industry on a day-to-day or even like a weekly basis. I really think you have to look at it big picture. Like you're going to have good months, you're going to have bad months, you're going to make a lot of money in 1 year, maybe lose some money in another year. Like I think you just kind of have to roll with the punches and manage the highs and lows. Yeah, so that's an interesting idea. I've heard about people doing that, like trying to keep your driver under a certain number of hours per week so he never has to reset. The limit is 60 hours per week that he can work. So theoretically, I guess as long as he works, 60 divided by 7, whatever that is every single day, I guess he would be fine. But the way I do it, I typically have my driver run pretty hard Monday through Friday and like work, 10 to 12 hours Monday through Friday, maybe drive a little bit Saturday morning. But then I've always have taken the 34-hour reset. I've never done, I guess you could theoretically do 8 hours every day, seven days a week, but I don't think any driver is going to want to do that. Like to me, that just sounds like a pretty bad job. Like I think drivers are going to want to take a day off or 2 days off or 34 hours off. Yeah, and you also have to consider the cost of having your driver living out of your truck on the weekend. Like it's really not that difficult to get your driver home. So right now, my first driver, we sent him home every single weekend, and that really worked fine. Like I think in the long run, your driver's going to be a lot happier doing that, and I don't really think it affects your ability to book loads or to make money really all that much. But my driver now, my second driver, he's staying out for 2 weeks. So I'm interested to see kind of how much better of a load I can get. So like today's Friday. Tomorrow on Saturday, like he's going to drive the entire day because he just has leftover hours. So that's an advantage of staying out for weeks at a time. Like you could take advantage of a Saturday morning or a Saturday afternoon. But I would, if I were you, I would always offer my driver a 34-hour reset. I would, especially if you're going to go through a staffing agency, like a lot of these company drivers, they're probably not going to be cool with working 7 days a week. They're going to want to take a day or two off. Or do you want to run, so with your tractor, do you want to run OTR or do you want to run locally? Because those are like almost two completely different industries, running OTR versus local. Yeah, because like local stuff, you need a trailer and you usually pay hourly. And like, you know, they're usually home every night or at least like every other night. But OTR, you pay per mile. And you're going to need a sleeper cab. So definitely get tandem axle for your tractor and these are two important things that I didn't really understand, but get a 73-inch sleeper with a raised roof. So like, it's just the type of sleeper cab that it is. Like there's mid-roof and raised roof, and there's 50-inch sleeper and 73-inch sleeper, and just the dimensions of the sleeper cab. But if you're going to have a traditional OTR driver, you're definitely going to want like the raised roof so that he can stand up, and the 73-inch so he has a little bit of room to stretch out. I don't have my own trailer, no. But there are a couple things that you can do. So like technically I don't have my own trailer, but 80% of the loads I run are van loads. Like only 20% of my loads are traditional power only loads. Like I'll either do a power only run for like a big broker and I'll get their trailer and I'll use it the whole week. Or you can do like what's called one-way trailers, and you can, you know, pick up a trailer in Atlanta and it needs to go to Boston by the end of the week. So you just kind of run with it all week, and then you just deliver it in Boston whenever you're done with it. It's called one-way trailer, and you just need trailer interchange insurance, and then you can operate other people's trailers. Because trailers cost $40,000. Like a decent one is going to cost you $40,000. It would definitely be easier to have your own trailer, but I guess the question is, would you rather buy a trailer or buy a second truck? For me, like I've been plenty profitable without having a trailer, so I'm in no hurry to buy a trailer. I'd much rather buy a second truck before I buy a trailer. I mean, definitely, you know, once I get a couple trucks, I'm gonna look for getting trailers because it opens up a lot of doors for you. Like you'll be able to do more dedicated work if you have a trailer. Like it's hard to find power only dedicated work. But also if you want to transition to more local regional stuff. Like a lot of people I see is like you typically have two trailers for every truck that you have. So like you'll leave a trailer at one shipper and then 400 miles away you'll leave another trailer, and like your truck will just kind of relay back and forth and like pick up that trailer, take it, pick up that trailer, take it, and you kind of just bounce it back and forth between those two trailers. No, power only loads pay $2.60, and van loads pay $3 a mile. Last month I would have said $2.80 and $3.20, but this month I'll say $2.60 and $3. Yeah, I've got Progressive. I have an insurance agent, and he told me he shopped around. I trust him. I don't really know a whole lot about insurance, but he said he looked at a couple other quotes and Progressive gave me the cheapest quote. What I didn't know is that your insurance primarily depends on your credit score. I don't know why, but primarily depends on your credit score, and then obviously the value and the type of truck you get, and then your driving record. I think those three things are the biggest thing that have to do with your insurance. I'm spending about $1,700 a month on my tractor insurance. No, I could actually do it directly from my online portal with Progressive. It's just adding a broker to your certificate of insurance, and it takes me 2 minutes. I can do it right now, going on the Progressive website, or your insurance agent should also be able to do it for you. Also, I heard you mention Sunday at 1 a.m. So this is kind of like a common thing that I didn't really realize, but brokers typically don't work after hours. Maybe some do, but like most brokers work like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. From my experience, I have somewhat of a limited experience, but I've hopped on the load board several times. I've tried to call people like in the evenings when I got done with my business, and like no one's available. So I was kind of under the assumption that brokers would just be available 24/7 to book loads, but I don't think it's like that. I think brokers are more available like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., like more traditional time periods. I could be wrong, but I just wanted to touch on that because I heard you say Sunday at 1 a.m. Like no one's going to be working Sunday at 1 a.m. I'm not going to have my next driver be a 1099. It's technically not the right thing to do because your driver's using your equipment and you're telling him what to do. It's technically not right. And I did it when I first got started. I did it with my brother whenever he got started as a driver for me. But I'm not going to do it with this next guy because it's technically not the right thing to do. Yeah. So you're going to have to pay 7% for payroll tax. You're going to have to pay 5% for workers' comp insurance. But other than that, it's just a 12% markup for having a W-2 employee versus a 1099 employee. And then obviously if you fire him or her, you might have to pay some type of unemployment compensation. But yeah, QuickBooks has payroll, but I highly recommend stay away from QuickBooks payroll. And the main reason being is because it fully integrates with your accounting software, and it's great when it's great. But if there's ever a problem, it messes with not only your payroll, but now also your financial statements and your accounting is all messed up because your payroll, there was some type of clerical issue. So I just recommend, even if you're going to spend an extra $100 a month, just use ADP or use Gusto or use anybody else other than QuickBooks. I communicate with my driver at least once a week. I always try to touch base with him once a week, just to kind of even if it's not operational, more so from an HR perspective, just kind of trying to maintain your employees, hey, how's it going? How's your week? What was good? What was bad? What can I do better? What do you want us to keep doing? I really try to stay at it. Well, caveat, that's because I don't dispatch my truck. But if you or your wife is going to dispatch your truck, and you're going to be communicating with your driver daily, if not 3 or 4 times a day. But for me, what I really want, I'm really trying to build a business where my dispatcher manages my driver. So there will be times where I want my driver to go somewhere or do something, and I will literally go out of my way to tell my dispatcher hey, can you please tell my driver to go to this gas station, or can you please tell him to upload this document, I need him to do that. I kind of try to stay out of it because also your driver's going to spend a lot of time driving, and when he's not driving, he's going to be at the shipper or the receiver talking to the warehouse, or he's going to be on his 10-hour break. And any 3 of those times, you don't want to mess with him. So I usually try to let my dispatcher handle most of the operational communication, because I don't want to confuse him or stress him out or just add more tasks to his plate. So I always try to streamline the communication straight through my dispatcher. That way he can handle it appropriately. And also that way I can kind of train my employees to operate independently without me constantly adding my input or constantly telling them to do stuff. But if from an HR perspective, I recommend at least once a week, just touch base, check in, how you doing, what can we do better? Oh man, 150% turnover rate for CDL drivers. I didn't even know what that meant. How can you even have 150% turnover rate? But yeah, it's the nature of the industry. We're gonna go through drivers. There's no working around it. Because especially, I don't know if you saw, Walmart just recently put out, they're paying their drivers $90,000 a year. Route 20 Trucking Company cannot compete with Walmart when it comes to hiring drivers. But what we can offer our drivers is more independence. Opportunity for growth, independence, working with a new company. Another thing I always tell my drivers, hey, this is going to be your truck. So if you're working for one of the big companies, you might be thrown in a different truck every single week, and I know that can be difficult for drivers. But one positive thing about our company is hey, this will be your truck. You can put your TV, your microwave, you can take care of it however you want. I think they like that. The one thing I will say, it's gonna take longer than you think to get your truck. So it's obviously you want to make sure you have financing first, or kind of at the same time. But it took me 30 days to get my truck. From the day I called the dealership and said, hey, I want to buy this truck, it was literally 30 days later until I got the keys and I could drive home with it. So just keep that in mind whenever you're shopping and trying to plan your start date.